Great guy. And then Obrimpong Kaba, good morning to you. We're grateful as well. Willow Media. So all of you watching us, make sure you share our streams as well. Today, we're here to speak on some national matters of concern to all of us. The Electoral Commission says apparently they have collated the numbers, over 600,000 so far registered. And just for you to know, by the statistics, they have calculated 1.3 million Ghanaians who ideally should be registered. They are targeting 700,000. So they say that with 600,000, having today being the 17th day, continuing to register over a 21-day period, they seem, by estimation, to have met their numbers by way of the target. But what do you think? You, the stakeholder who wants to register, what do you see at the registration center and what can you tell us? Christian Ohene, Sherry Giovanni already saying that they will be looking at those issues critically. What do you think has been the positives or the challenges of the current registration being undertaken by the Electoral Commission of Ghana? And I have here with me an entrepreneur, a politician as well, communicating for the government of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. The distinguished Eric Amwakuchum is here. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Roland.
And then also in the middle is lawyer Kwame Jantwa. Kwame Jantwa is also not just a lawyer, he's also an energy consultant. Currently is battling the NPA, National Petroleum Authority, over the invasion of the transport of oil, that very sector, by Chinese company Sen Petroleum. You know, as you know, Sen, they currently are having the only private oil refinery in Ghana. And they have also imported large fleets of tankers to also play in that sector. That will mean crowding out of the local players who are in oil transportation. Is a big concern not only for him, all of us as stakeholders. And next to him is lawyer Abraham Maliba. When he meets his friends, he's not able to fire. So we'll see how it goes today. Lawyer Abraham Maliba, you are his friends.
Who are my
if
friends?
It was Dennis Miracle Abuaje, we'll be seeing him. How are you?
I'm okay, I'm fine.
Great guy,
Yeah.
Great guy. Now let's give you a wrap of what the Electoral Commission did say at that press conference. Noble Crosby Annan has the latest.
Let me begin by reiterating the Commission's avowed commitment to ensuring that every qualified Ghanaian is registered as a voter to take part in the 2023 district-level elections and the 2024 general elections. The Commission is desirous of registering everyone who is eligible. We reiterate that it is not our intention to disenfranchise anyone. We wish to assure all qualified persons that we have increased the number of kits in our district offices to accommodate the large numbers at the registration centers.
The Ghana card is seen as a potent tool to prevent the registration of minors and foreigners.
The Ghana card shows the age and citizenship of the bearer of the card, making it easier to identify those who are minors and those who are foreigners. The Electoral Commission believes that the guarantor system has outlived its usefulness, and we are convinced that the time is right for a system that every registrant is identified on his or her own merit, rather than another person vouching for the age and nationality of that person.
For citizens who have lost their voter ID cards, the EC announced that the replacement of the ID cards will commence on October 3rd.
In all our district offices, the fee is 10 Ghana cedis, and the payment is through a short code that will be made available to the public very, very soon.
Meanwhile, the Electoral Commission is indicating that it will exceed its targeted number of 700,000 persons to be registered in this exercise.
We gave you a target of 52% of the 1,350,000 people who qualify. And currently we've done 667,300 or so. Almost 90% of the target we set for ourselves.
Well, so what does it mean? If you take a look at what the NIA law itself says, by way of registration, of course, through an oath, a commission of oath, you can have a guarantor. So a guarantor system also enables you to acquire the Ghana card. Now that Ghana card is a prerequisite. that the Electoral Commission wants you to use to get your name on the voters register. But you can't use a guarantor system in their new CI they are proposing to get yourself onto the voters register. Well, we all agree that we need to get the Ghana card to get it going because that's technology. Eric, your first observation about what the Electoral Commission has been saying based on the numbers they're targeting, they're saying that they already have 600,000, so they're good to go. Even though in excess, 1.3 people need to be on that register.
Well, thank you very much. Good morning to you, and then good morning to my brothers here. And of course, good morning to all the viewers of TV3Newday, right? Okay. Well, I mean, I think that the EC, by and large, has done a good job in terms of the numbers that have been registered. Of course, with every process, you would face certain challenges, and I think that I think we have about 5 more days or so to go. So by the time they are done, we'll probably be closer to the targets that they set for themselves. That notwithstanding, of course, I mean, once they have done that, for every process, there's always going to be a post-evaluation of what it is that they have done. And if there are certain aspects that needs to be tweaked, we will all definitely go and tweak it. The bone of contention really is the whole conversation surrounding the guarantor system.
True.
But I also believe that for every system, you always have to make sure that you improve the system as you go along. And if there are challenges, even at the local level, where, for example, you have these persons who are vouching for other people, claiming that they are citizens of this country and they're of age, also being challenged. You know, so for how long? I mean, for how long would we go through a process where, even with the advent of technology and all the things that are available to us today, go through all that pain of having persons, and even the system actually indicates that one person is not allowed to guarantee for more than 10 people, right? And so this process has actually also presented what we call guarantorpreneurs. People are actually standing at the registration center and guaranteeing for persons or vouching for persons to say that they are this and that and all that, you know. But I believe that if we all agree that we want to go through this democratic process and make sure that it's fair and transparent, there has to be some modalities and certain rules of engagement. In the last couple of days, I think that even my party, the MPP, has actually asked our brothers from the NDC to join the IPAC conversation. Because what is even on the table with the new CI indicates that the Electoral Commission should be allowed to do continuous registration. Now, at the IPAC level, they've also agreed that there has to be a modalities committee. And a modalities committee that would ensure that whatever it is that they put in place to ensure that the continuous registration is successful would be given by this committee that's put together, right? So that there is a certain understanding. Because all this brouhaha is as a result of the fact that when we wait for all this while to allow for a certain limited registration exercise, then it creates the chaos. You know, so even if we decide that we want to go by a continuous registration exercise, you necessarily would need the NDC as a stakeholder, together with all the rest of the other political parties, to agree on that particular modality. So that if somebody turns 18 or has been out of this jurisdiction for a period and decides to go and get themselves on the electoral roll, all that they have to do by the modalities that have been set and is agreed, will just go and have their name on the roll, so that we don't go through this process. It's almost as if that, I mean, and it's a total waste of time, resources. You have to facilitate these processes and all that. And all the political parties that are serious about winning elections in this country will tell you that the process itself presents all sorts of challenges for even every political party, because you have to be there, you have to have agents, ensure that the process is being adhered to and people are doing the right things and all of those things. So we need to agree on these set principles. Then when you agree on these set principles and it's cast in stone, this whole conversation about an independent electoral commission and persons that are being appointed as commissioners are not independent really will become.
It cannot be.
You understand?
It
You understand? what I'm
cannot
saying?
be, because
no, I'm just saying that if you have,
because the argument about who is on the electoral commission is very important.
Roland, let me land. I'm saying that you have a pre-agreed process that is set in stone. You have checks and balances. You have a mechanism to ensure that people are going on a roll, right? On a continuous basis, has been agreed by both all the political parties, right? At that point, nobody can rig the system or can vary that particular modality. And I'm saying that if you're able to do that and you have those structures in place and it's being respected, then because the system would actually take care of itself, because you can't go to this whole election with this mindset that every time we are going into an election, we have challenges when it comes to voter registration exercises. We have challenges when it comes to even the display of the register for people to go and authenticate if their names are in there or not. We have challenges when it comes to the election proper, when people go to the polling stations to go and cast their votes. When in reality, if we have the right systems and processes in place and we are doing this thing from a goodwill standpoint, we won't have this challenge.
Okay. Amaliba, if you take a look at that, lawyer, at the end of the day, it is because the Electoral Commission has decided to make people have a certain prejudice about its own work. Because the reality is, if we had agreed that we will further decentralize the registration points, at the end of the day, people could have trusted the guarantor scheme better. Because if you do that, people closer to the people in the communities
know them,
present a better opportunity for us to verify whether somebody is from here or not. And I'm giving examples where I have relatives who are in Ketu North or Ketu South, but they live in Togo, but they come to Akachi or wherever, and you go to the other side of the borders. And these are real people who are Ghanaians.
So
what do you say to that?
Let me start by saying good morning to your viewers. The EC, in my view, is the weakest link in our democratic experiment. The democratic value chain. The EC is the weakest link, the current EC that we have. Why am I saying this? The right to vote is a right which is at the core of our democratic processes. That right to vote. Because God did not create any of us here for another person to lord it over us or to be our leader. God did not create him, and that I should be the leader. God did not create that way. God created us to be our own leaders, and that's why we are sovereign upon ourselves. But through a social contract theory, we then come together and say that let's put our sovereignty all together for one person so that he will rule over us. So that you can get up and come to your broadcasting work. I can also get up and go to my law work. He can go to his oil work. Then he can do his business, selling his cars. So the right, to choose who would lord over us should not be taken lightly. I'm bringing this to let you understand why that right should not be taken lightly. Now you have an EC that constantly closes the gate for people to express their will or wish. You have an EC that constantly put in place mechanisms, even though you hear them say that, oh, we are not limiting anybody's right to vote, but in their own conduct, they are doing that. This thing that you said about decentralizing the registration processes. It's true because they are here now arguing about or complaining about the guarantor system and saying that the guarantor system has outlived its usefulness. But in the same vein, if it has outlived its usefulness, then it shouldn't be used for the Ghana card.
Very simple.
If something has outlived its usefulness, it will outlive its usefulness for you, for me, for all of us.
Universal.
Universal. So it cannot outlive its usefulness for only the EC, but useful for the NIA. In any case, the NIA card, haven't we sat here and seen NIA cards issued to non-Ghanaians, Chineses? Huh?
Yes.
What is Chinese?
I'm speaking street language.
Local English.
Chineses have it. So are you going to say that because it's a Ghana card and you upload it or that person comes into the voter register, it's clean? The theory of Bosman Asari, that's a political science lecturer.
Used to be.
Used to be. But political scientist, always a political scientist. And so you don't know to whose benefit this EC is conducting affairs in this manner. Did you hear the EC say that, there's going to be another registration? So they don't intend to capture everybody? How can an electoral commission speak this way?
And also said not everybody will vote. The first time, yeah.
Can you imagine?
Said that.
Can you imagine those who are managing the electoral process, particularly with the background I gave of why people vote? And if you're an electoral commissioner sitting in that office and you are speaking this way, are you competent to be in that office? So the caliber of people who are also manning the electoral commission is what is making the work difficult. In any case, those who drafted the law, the electoral laws, knew about these challenges that they are talking about. They knew that there will be minors who may find their way into the register. They knew that there will be foreigners. They've provided for how to deal with the matter. Would I therefore be right sitting here to say that the EC is a lazy EC and do not want to do the hard work by going through the processes as outlined in the laws to remove the names? In any case, too, even if, the first stage is for you to protest. There's a protestation form, they call it what form? At the registration center. Even if you do that, and the person skips through, and his name is in the register, do you know that the law still empowers the EC to collect those names and apply to the court for expansion of those names? That's another power within the law. That gives the EC the law. They can collect names of people they suspect are foreigners, people they suspect are minors. They can collect those names, apply to the court, but the court will give them a hearing, those people. Look, you know that most of our people don't want going to court. So if you are one of those whose name has been compiled and sent to court and you are actually somebody at fault, you won't appear in court. Isn't it another way of cleaning the register? So why are they so fixated with removing of the guarantee system when they know in the same speech press conference, Bosman Asari was appealing to the government to give money to the NIA to speed up the process of giving out the cars.
And even registration.
And registration. So my point is, you know that there are problems there. You know. I am saying to the EC, it is better for 99 foreigners to vote in our elections than a single Ghanaian who is desirous to vote is prevented from voting. That's what I want to tell them. I would, on any day, want 99 foreigners to vote in our elections than a single Ghanaian who is qualified and is desirous to vote is deprived because of the activities of the EC.
No, you can't say that. The foreigners should not vote. Those who are not legitimate.
You don't understand me. You should understand. One individual
who is deprived
is one too many. That's what I want to tell you.
Okay.
One individual is one too many. The EC has no right to be saying, we don't intend to register all of. Who are they to tell that? I I'm a sovereign. It is my wish to vote in these district assembly elections. Then you tell me, oh, it's not our wish to have all of you. What kind of comments are that? Are these people who are qualified to sit in that office? And when we talk, you say that we are lambasting them.
Now, if, for example, King David Jisa is saying, if you take a look at the updated information by the EC, the claim that the guarantor system was the basis to get minors and foreigners into the register cannot be true. Now, he says that the NIA has not been able to issue a lot of cards to individuals. And then he also says that the NIA uses the guarantor system as a basis. At the end of the day, I think we'll come to a point where the Ghana card will become the ultimate document or card to get yourself onto the voter register. Once we are not fully automated as a country, if we don't spread the registration points, at the end of the day, there will not be the system where we can verify anybody is a foolproof Ghanaian without any supporting opportunity, be it the Ghana card or the guarantor system. So the EC itself has compromised its position by its own statement before the start of this. Is that not the case?
Good morning to our viewers. Good morning to my fellow panelists. Roland, don't you think if the EC took this registration to the people, the polling stations, and a foreigner who lives in the community came to register, they'll be able to identify that foreigner, as against doing it only in the district offices? So a foreigner travels from Brumpugu Yogo and comes to the district office. His community is not there. He comes and he registers. Who is to say he's a foreigner or is not a foreigner? What I don't understand is the adversarial way that the EC is handling this thing. As is being said around this table are messages that have come through. The ID card people, they use identification, don't they? It is something that is paramount in them being able to issue the cards. And I don't understand why the EC wants to push Parliament into a certain position. I don't understand it. That is not your duty. Parliament says you can't do it. You can't do it. Don't play lazy electoral responsibility. You're being lazy. 1 minute they tell us that, oh, we are doing it in our district offices because internet and everything there works out. Then the next minute they come and tell us we don't have the money because Parliament didn't approve our CI. What are we supposed to believe? And the Electoral Commission is a body, as I continuously say, a body that should create unity within the people. It's important. But at this particular moment, the way they are going about things and the way they seem to be at loggerheads with political parties and with Parliament, I don't understand where they are going.
Are they failing at that?
They are failing us. Not two ways about it. So, you say political parties are busing minors. Show us the proof. Show us the proof. Tell us which political parties are doing that. There are more than two political parties in this country. There are quite a number of them. Which ones are doing that? Call them out. Get the individuals who are doing it. Call them out. Have they been able to do it? No. So what are they trying to tell us? How do we believe what they are saying? This thing about, oh, we are independent, they are now pulling it over our heads too much. They are independent, so whenever they do anything, nobody can say anything about it. I keep saying, the chair should be a mother for Ghana. Because elections have caused wars. Elections have caused a lot of challenges for countries. Elections, if they are not done right. And the way the EC is going, the way they are handling things, I don't think the people of Ghana are happy with the way things are going. And we should speak out. And I would like a situation where it's one voice, like Eric just, tried to intimate. One voice where we should all, irrespective of whether we are benefiting or not benefiting, we should all be able to point out things that are wrong. We should all be able to do it. And not say because we are in power, electoral commission is doing something, that party is supporting. Because when you hear commentary on the media from some MPP people, as if the EC is clean as snow, white as snow.
All MPP communicated except Eric here. So.
No, but that's a bit unfair.
I don't understand whether they have been briefed to go in a certain line. But definitely, what the EC is doing really is not correct. Go to the constituencies. When elections are coming, are you coming to say that people should come to the district offices to come and vote? Go there. You even get to know the environment properly. You even get to know the community properly. Why don't you want to? And if the Minister of Finance hasn't given you money, tell us and we put pressure on the Minister of Finance to give you the money. What is it? This adversarial way of doing things, I don't think it helps for an electoral commission. And yes, anytime a new electoral commissioner comes in, there's suspicion. It is up to the electoral commissioner to make sure that they can waive that suspicion and let people see that they are balanced. When Afarijan came in initially, wasn't there suspicion? Didn't people think he was one-sided, it was one way? He was more to the NDC than anything else. What was he able to do? In the end, we are touting him as one of the best electoral commissioners we've had. So why can't Jean Mensah try her possible best to be neutral? Why? And let people have the confidence in her. Because if you go to town today and you ask, do you have confidence in the Electoral Commission? Quite a number of people will say, we don't, because of the way she's handling things. And it has to change.
Eric, at the end of the day, it looks like the posture of the commission seemed to sync with the lackluster posture of the executive or government, and then also the ruling party. And that is why the conclusion is drawn that you are in tango.
This is the second time you've asked me this question in a different manner. But I think there's a very...
Are you saying it's a moot question?
It is I mean, it's with all due respect, it's not a question that you should be asking me. And last time I told you categorically, this has nothing to do with the executive. The executive has a responsibility to, like my brother said, in terms of the making sure that the budget allocations are given to the Electoral Commission. In terms of the operations and what the AC does, has absolutely nothing to do with the executive. So for you to use words like lackluster and all of those things really smacks of, I mean, some kind of mischief, if you ask me. I would say that. On his part. I mean, but this is the second time he's asking this particular question.
But he's the host.
Yeah, he's a host, but I mean, if he's a host, so we are talking about, we are here touting our democratic credentials, and I don't have a right to express my view on
the questions can be asked in different ways.
Yes, but that is, I also have a responsibility and a right to answer that question in a way that I deem fit.
But I don't stop you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but you are now. I'm not attacking him. I'm saying that it is an unfair, it's a mischievous question, because when you say lackluster and then now you link that to the Electoral Commission, it means that you've made you're coming from a certain standpoint and orientation. I believe strongly that. Yes, I believe strongly that the EC has a responsibility to the people of this country. And like I've told you, I'm not here to defend the Electoral Commission based on willy-nilly and say that because, I mean, we are in government, everything the Electoral Commission does, it's good, it's sacrosanct. But the point is that when you're criticizing, you're critiquing objectively and points out issues and things that they are doing that you feel that are not the right things. But the moment you actually draw the executive into the equation, then it's a totally different conversation. I believe strongly that let's sit together as political parties, as stakeholders, to figure out modalities to ensure that there's continuous registration. Go back to the IPAC like everybody is calling the NDC to do, because regardless of what you do, the NDC is an integral part of our political democratic experiment. And so if they are sitting on the fence and then they use platforms like this to actually prefer opinions and views. I don't think that it works. They should come to IPAC.
It's a question
we
I
can
asked. It's not an opinion I
agree,
asked.
right, and disagree, and then move this conversation forward. I think that once we dialogue and we come to the point where the Electoral Commission is actually being asked to do the right things from all parties, because even like I indicated
Because
earlier,
what the ruling party is doing is to play ostrich.
no, but the ruling party is also is a stakeholder, because we have a political party. And I will tell you that.
Where in your meetings as ruling party have you discussed the problems that the other
you are
parties
asking me to tell you what happens at our political party
saying that
meetings.
right?
And you're telling me
you say
to
everything is fine. So
right?
that's why.
No, nobody's saying everything is fine, because at the local level, we have constituencies or polling stations that, as far as you're concerned, if the EC extended the various touch points or places that you can register, it will be of benefit to us. You understand? So, for example, if you have a stronghold and all the registration is being done at a registration center at the district level, don't you think that it affects the MPP as well? You understand what I'm saying? And so sometimes there's this whole default position that's already been taken that indicates that, well, because there's a ruling party, by default, we are supporting the Electoral Commission. I don't sit here to defend the Electoral Commission. I have never done that. I will never do that. But when you criticize objectively. Because, you see, in the same vein that we want to improve and engender our democracy and all of those things, if you run down the Electoral Commission and you run down other institutions that are supposed to...
Who is running down the Electoral Commission?
But that's what I'm saying, that if you're running down the Electoral Commission, like he indicated
No,
that,
who is running down the Electoral Commission?
No, I said if you run down the Electoral Commission and you feel that you are doing anything, you're actually doing a disservice to the same democracy that we want to uphold. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Makucho,
But you can
who is
point
doing a
out...
disservice to the Electoral Commission?
You can point out
Is it the executive
specifics.
head who decides to appoint members of the Electoral Commission, who are party apparatchiks, who then create a credibility problem of trust by the electorate, the political actors for the Electoral Commission, or rather it is the critics from the political space, whether it's the media or civil society?
That is your view. You are entitled to that particular.
It's a question.
It's a
I
view.
don't see how
But
that becomes my view.
how can your question be premised on?
You are interpreting my question to be an opinion.
Well, exactly. You are expressing an opinion, but you have a right
That's
to
not
do
true.
that. And I'm saying that.
I said how, and I predicated my question with how.
Even when I indicated earlier when we were talking about the numbers, I told you categorically that some of these conversations around independence and people who are supposed to be aligned to one political party or the other can be cured. That mischief can be cured by having a system in place that is agreed upon, is set in stone, with modalities have been put in place to ensure that all these political parties agree that these are the processes that we want to take. And that if you want to do continuous registration, for example, these are the things that you agree on. We have a parliament, we have political parties, we have civil society. We can agree on all of these things and ensure that the EC does the right thing. And I'm saying that the EC is not above reproach. So if the EC does things that are supposed to be, they should be reprimanded for and they should be questioned and for them to be asked to do the right thing, of course, let's do that. But you should criticize objectively, because in the same vein that you are criticizing the Electoral Commission, if you run down the Electoral Commission, you don't have a democracy.
Okay.
But
Mr. Maliba,
Yes.
Yesterday I was listening to Dr. Bosman Asari, and he kept regurgitating what we've heard over the years as the Electoral Commission, saying foreigners had been in a register, etc. But we also do know that at the end of the day, you calling for the executive to support the NIA has been an argument that have been made in issues, events involving the NIA, because they've been perhaps not well underfunded, and then the political commitment has not been made. It's not only about the elections. We had SIM registration, and there were problems with NIA issuing cards on time, in real time, etc. That poses credibility problem for the Electoral Commission of trust.
Yes, and like Jantua said, it appears the EC itself is not helping itself. You would have expected that the EC, and for that matter, the Electoral commissioners, will be doing things to dispel the notion that they are not performing well or that they are laboring under credibility issues. So you notice that he gave an example of Afarijan. there were issues after his appointment. After his appointment. But immediately, when he started work, people began to know to say that this is a guy who is ready to do the work. I think that if the commissioners had gone into the offices and had made it a point that they would do this work to the glory of God, credibility will not be an issue for them. But they worsen their plight by the way they conduct themselves. An example is their last IPAC meeting. All political parties, including the MPP, disagreed with this centralization. They disagreed. Bosman said they were going to come back to them, only to hear an announcement by Jim Mensah that it's going to take place. What are you further doing? You are further worsening the credibility, the confidence people have in you. Yeah. So, it's not only him. Officers, when they are being elected or are being appointed, people have so many questions about. Look at Special Prosecutor. When he was going to come, people have so many issues. Oh, he was a friend to Gabriel Chidrago. He's a friend to... But in his work ethics, has he disabused those things? The answer for me at this moment is yes. So it is them, particularly the two of them, Jim Mensah and Bosman. The other man is professional. Sometimes when you read his countenance, you see that he's not happy with what is happening in the commission.
Which other man?
Tete.
Oh.
When you see him, his demeanor, because he's a professional, he has been there. He knows how things work. And they have my good friend, Dr. Sereboa, now putting the icing on the cake.
He's director.
They will do everything and they ask him to come and spew it out. You know? So they must change their ways of doing things.
Well, he speaks for them.
That's what I'm saying. They will do all and then he will now carry it and come and spew it out. And he also does it in a way that annoys people. You know? So it is for them. It is for them. And I'm sure one of them will be listening this morning. It is for them not to be having some... You see their posture when they are talking as if they are fighting somebody.
Adversarial.
Adversarial, like you said. The posture. You are paid by the taxpayer. Be calm. Speak to the people. Don't give pot shots. Don't give pot shots to thinking that you are talking to NDC. But you are talking to somebody who is your taxpayer. In that case, NDC is a taxpayer. So, the problems that the EC has been exacerbated by the commissioners themselves. They said they were targeting 1.3 million.
They said the ideal number is 1.3. They are targeting 700,000.
No, they said 1.3 people do not have the card.
Yes, but they are targeting 700,000.
Why would you set such a low standard? And then you come at a press conference and then be clapping for yourself that, oh, we have done 600. It's let's just level 1,000 to meet your target. When you know there are 1.3 people out there, so those people are not Ghanaians. So you see, if we want to, we will need a full day to dissect the EC. And I don't know how they are able to position themselves when they go out to meet their colleagues in other countries, when they are giving the Ghana country report to say that we have said that the registrants shouldn't register, but God, there's another time. Can you imagine?
What is meant by limited registration?
It just means the registration that is not the mass registration.
Is that what it means?
Yes.
Well, by no.
Doesn't it also mean that they are going to register just a limited number of people?
No, there's a time. There's a time frame.
No.
It means that the time you have to
Why
register.
should there be a limited registration? Why?
That's the
Because
whole
it's
point
done
we have been
before a
making.
major.
Why? Why?
It's a question.
Limited registration because there's one registration for all of us.
And I'm saying, does it help?
But that's the point I've been making.
Does it
for
help?
the time.
It doesn't help. People need to be registered. Open it up throughout the year. Register people.
But the
Our
EC
friends
hasn't
will
done
not
it.
agree.
We talk about the limited registration.
2022.
And that is the crux, and that is the crux of the matter. You have a backlog. People are getting to the age of 18, adding onto that backlog. And you come and tell us we are doing limited registration. And that next year we will open up. What kind of thinking is that? I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Shraj has said that it was wrong for the Electoral Commission to do, what do you call it, in their district offices, because it would disenfranchise people. I think I've heard them say it.
Yeah, but the Electoral Commission is an independent body, also guided by its own...
The fact that you are independent doesn't mean if you are doing something wrong.
You have a CI that guards...
Wait. You have a CI. If you are doing something wrong, we can't talk about it. The president has all the powers to put people in place. If he puts a criminal in place, we cannot talk about it. Is that what you're telling me? I'm not saying he's put criminals in place. I'm just saying, giving an example.
But Dr. Appiah clearly is a compromised individual.
If he puts a criminal who is known as a criminal in place, because he has the power to appoint, we shouldn't talk about it. Look at the individual he has put in the Electoral Commission who is said to be an MPP person. How can that be possible? And then, what even surprises me, the Electoral Commissioner, she's a lawyer, isn't she?
Yes.
Didn't she flout a court injunction? What has happened to it? Is that not contempt of court? And where are we with that? And how can she do that? She stopped one. She said to us during the NDC election that there is an injunction, so she can't go on. Why is
Even before she received it, she was served.
And this one, they brought it to your doorstep. You refused to get it. And when you now got it too, you decided to go on. Come on. That is somebody who's indecent. Sorry to say that. But it is indecent. She should, especially when you are an officer of the law, there are certain things you should be able to follow. And as I keep saying, she should be a mother for Ghana. And she should be able to show Ghanaians that she means well, because the perception that brews around this thing makes it look as if they are in bed with government. And government might not be in bed with them.
How do you know them?
I'm saying, maybe. Maybe. They could be, but I don't know. But the things that they do make it look that way. How do you come and announce an election 3 times over? How? One election, you announce the 3 times over.
The presidential...
Yes. How do you announce 3 times over? Weren't you doing your job? Didn't you know? Weren't you ready before you came to announce it? So why did you come and announce it when you weren't ready? It creates a certain perception that is wrong. So please, Electoral Commission, listen to the people. It's the people who put you there. You are there because of the people. And I beg the NDC, and I keep saying this and I won't stop saying it. NDC, come back to IPAC. Come back. Stop sitting outside and pissing in. They should stop sitting outside and pissing in. All right. You should be there, sitting at the table. All right. Because at this particular moment, IPAC should be called. Political parties should be called back. And the EC should be able to dialogue with the political parties.
And listen to them.
Political parties are there because of the EC. The EC are there because of political parties and because of the country. Let's have a situation where we can dialogue and speak together.
All right. So we'll go on to the next. And let me just apprise ourselves of what all of you have been observing about our conversation. So I have a great supporter of mine based on the message. Isahaku from Tamale, who says, please let Eric understand as host. Your questions are asked on behalf of viewers, and so you're not playing any mischief. That's a good one there.
So that's an answer to...
But he doesn't know you more than I know you.
This is not fair. Now, let me read this one from Aduji Tamaklo, lawyer Aduji. It says, Madam Jim Mensah's EC appeared before the Special Budget Committee of Parliament with a request for 56 million cedis for the purposes of this limited registration. She indicated to Parliament that she needed that's 56 million to register estimated number of 1.3 million people. On the basis of 1.3 million estimated number, Parliament approved the 56 million. Now she has decided to renew downwards the number from 1.3 million to 800,000. In actual fact, their communication is 700,000 ADG. Now, saying that she has done 90% of this number and not the 1.3 million. Clearly, Jim Mensah has an agenda to suppress votes, and it is dangerous. How can a system that has 63% of people able to register be said to have outlived its youthfulness being, he says it's a crazy logic, and I think it's the guarantor system. Should we continue to be using the guarantor system? It's a question all of us. Let me just, before we move on to the next, let's put this on the screen. The CI 91, we have Regulation 2, which is indicating in designating a place as a registration center, the Commission shall take into consideration, A, the suitability of the place for use as a polling station on election day, and the possibility of the place to prospective applicants for registration. All right. So the point is whether we are asked or not. Even for the district level elections, if for the purposes of this limited registration, we're using this for the district, we'll still be voting based on polling stations. Because that's even where we need the polling stations even better. Where you are electing your assembly members. So the way the EC sometimes behaves in the Now, Roland John says, you don't read my short messages. All right, today you didn't send me a message. I apologize for not reading. I have this one from Eric Ashaliboche, who says, Mr. Amakuchum should know that the utterances of the EC have created credibility problems for them. They flip-flop every day. All right. Now let's move on to...
Before we move on, the identification system that we have with addresses, is it working?
Yes, it works.
It is working. Can we not use that too? Because when you go to places like the UK,
all of
you'll be sitting at home.
You'll
be sitting at home, and they drop the card in your box for you to register, and you send it back.
Yeah, but that's a postcode system.
Whatever. So the system that we have should be able to do that. How are we changing the system for it to be able to help all of us?
It's a problem.
Okay.
Kalio Man from WA says, please ask Elajantua that when they asked the EC not to register the district offices only, was IPAC listened to?
Is IPAC ever listened to?
That's a concern.
Because they say to us, you can say it, but it's up to us to take your suggestions. How many suggestions have IPAC made for this electoral commission to take? How many? Tell us.
None.
Yeah. All right.
That is why some of us feel IPAC should be put in the law and made a body that, the suggestions that they make to the electoral commission should be taken. They are the parties. They are the politicians. They are on ground all the time, and there should be that nice harmony between IPAC and the electoral commission.
All right. Sampiali says, for the past 3 days or so, I've seen attacking hosts of radio. Okay. He has seen NPP communicated blazingly attacking hosts of radio and TV station.
Why did I attack you?
Yes, it's an attack on my person.
And then I should actually...
You'll be attacking me.
I should invite the police because you attack me all the time.
Well...
And I haven't complained.
Good morning to you, Chairman Godwin Tamaklo. You work with the RATES group as well as... you're one of the oil transporters, Majaro, many of you. I know you personally because we all started from the base itself. Ashaman constituency.
So it gives you oil.
Yeah. If I want oil, I can always get oil. That's the point. That's true.